Greetings everyone. Today I would like to talk with you about a very interesting, fascinating, and at times controversial topic of walk-ins. I am guided to share this information with all of you because in the months and years to come, more and more people will begin experiencing this phenomenon of the original soul leaving the body and another soul taking its place. Recently I have begun receiving healing session requests from various people who have, or are experiencing a transference of souls within one body. All of them describe similar experiences over and over again. The experience most often than not begins with a traumatic event. A burnout at the job. A loss of a close family member. An illness. A loss of a romantic relationship. Feeling of loss overwhelms an individual and they cannot find their ground. Various emotional and physical triggers ensue that literally drive a soul into a void where they are given a few choices, one of which is to switch out. If they agree, the process begins. It varies between individuals, but for the most part the process lasts 3 to 4 months. First, the original soul is introduced to the other soul gradually who will take its place. They begin to communicate with each other on another level where the original is teaching the new one everything about the life that it has created thus far. The original soul teaches the new soul about who is who in their life. What they do. How they talk. How they walk, etc. Whilst the new soul is preparing the original one for departure, preparing it for what is to come, assisting the original one in tying some of the loose ends and saying goodbye to all whom they have come into contact with. For most who are going through this, the process on the earth plane may begin to seem like a dream. They would begin to feel strange thoughts, of both excitement and sadness of what is to come. They will catch themselves saying goodbye without understanding why. Hearing various thoughts that they never heard before. Feeling as if there actually is 2 distinct personalities in one body. Things will begin to feel strange, as they find themselves feeling more and more disassociated with everything that was so close to their heart. Finally, the day of their departure would arrive and they would say goodbye to all that they knew and move on to another plane of existence to experience other realms and return to where they have come, but before they do so, they remain in the vicinity of the new soul and continue to guide this soul from outside the body. The new soul is thus finally able to fully occupy the body and begin its own journey on this plane of existence. Here is where things begin to really get interesting. The new soul most of the time doesn't want to have anything to do with what the old one has created. They have arrived in order to take over the body and proceed with a completely different mission from the previous souls. When this happens, is when we find that all of a sudden our nearest and dearest has all of a sudden turned into a completely different person. They begin to dress differently, listen to different music, talk differently, walk differently and even develop different types of physical ailments. Everything begins to rapidly change. Their personality is no longer the same, as it is a completely different soul in the same body. They may all of a sudden switch jobs, move to another city, etc. On the contrary, some souls continue to discreetly go along with what the old soul has done and slowly begin to morph into a completely different person, as not to alarm those around them. All of this is happening on the external level. Internally though, the soul, more often than not, is fully and completely lost, confused, and scared. There is no one to talk to about what is happening and what has occurred. No one to discuss this with, and when they do try to open up to those around them, they are often met with hostility and an advice to get assistance from a psychiatrist. Usually their circle is not supportive of this change because for one, they do not understand it and think that the person is crazy. And 2, they are not comfortable with this extreme change and do not wish to adjust to a new personality. So the new soul is left wondering if indeed they are crazy and or have made all of this up, when deep within, they continue to be plagued with a distinct feeling that all of this is true. To support their innate knowing, Many times a new soul develops various abilities that the previous owner of the body did not have. They may begin to showcase psychic abilities, clairvoyance, healing of others, improved athletic performance without doing anything new, metaphysical abilities, knowledge of another language that they have never studied. The list goes on and on and on. And whilst this doesn't happen to everyone who does the switch out, it does happen to many. Please note, however, that those who awaken to who they are will also experience very similar sensations and processes. However, the distinct feature between the walk-ins and those who have simply awakened to who they truly are, will have a full and complete vivid memory of their childhood, a feeling of actually having experienced it, and recollection of having displayed these abilities as a child. Therefore, if you are wondering whether you might be a walk-in, but distinctly remember being able to heal someone as a child, or affinity for a new language, athletic and/or mental abilities, etc., whilst clearly remembering most of your childhood, this then doesn't apply to you. So why is it that we are seeing and are about to see this phenomenon of walk-ins occur more and more lately? One of the reasons is that a lot of things are shifting and the frequency of this planet is rising, which begins to bring up all the negative experiences that have been experienced by an individual, in order to have the soul deal with all the various issues. The vibration of trauma and negative experiences at times becomes too much for some to handle, coupled with the trauma experienced by their clan, and those around them, as well as the rapidly changing frequencies of Gaia, rising in vibration. All of this can become too much for a soul to handle, and so a soul cries out for assistance. Once this occurs, a soul is visited by what is known as a portal and asked if they wish to return home, or to have a time out, and have another take their place. As you can understand, this does not excuse the soul from the experience, nor the karma that they have collected, but simply allows it to take a break, if you will. The soul may return into the same body at a later stage should it choose to do so, or it can continue its journey elsewhere while another soul takes its place. This happens more often than you might think, and will only increase in frequency as we progress through the ascension journey. Most souls, however, choose to stay and deal with various issues and karma, relying on assistance offered from their guides and celestial counterparts. There are souls, however, that do a switch out without experiencing any traumatic events at all. When this happens, it happens for a number of reasons, one of which is that the original soul's journey has been completed. The original soul has established the avatar in an advantageous position, utilizing their expertise up to a certain point from which their expertise can no longer continue to support the mission of this particular avatar. What this means is that prior to birth a group of souls decide to inhabit one body in order to save time to get the job done. Where one soul excels at doing certain things in the body of a child, another soul in the body of an adolescent, another soul in the body of an adult, etc. This happens to many different people, but more often to those in the public eye, who have come onto this plane of existence to leave a significant mark. For some, the process is incredibly similar to walk-ins, but the original soul doesn't leave the body, staying there throughout the whole life of the avatar and allowing others to step in temporarily to do very important tasks, in order to assist the original soul in doing what it has come here to do. This is very often experienced by healers of all sorts, where say, a guide or an angel would take over the body for a few minutes in order to assist in healing. If you have experienced this, then you are not a walk-in, but are simply allowing various beings to operate through your vehicle. Once again, this happens more often than you might think. Sounding like something out of a sci-fi movie, it is an everyday reality for hundreds of thousands going into millions of people worldwide. I want to say here, that the information that I am sharing with you is not set in stone, and there are many more variations of the process and what happens. I am sure that those of you reading this who are indeed walk-ins can absolutely add or subtract from everything written here. All I am sharing is the collective experience of those whom I have had the honor of working with in my healing sessions, and my own experiences of being shown the various processes that take place behind the veil. I hope that this information will assist those of you looking for answers. One thing's for sure, that you are not alone in this, as there are many upon many who are going through the same thing as you, and you can find them on Facebook or other social media, so that you can learn from each other and continue assisting each other throughout this amazing journey.